Hey guys, before getting into the video, just wanted to give a quick background. I joined a random squad on Helldive difficulty on one of the Automaton planets and had a 0 death run. Now, normally I end up dying quite a bit, and thought about sharing and giving some of my tips and commenting on my own gameplay. The Automatons are difficult and rather a pain, especially when dropships come in, so yeah, just wanted to share some gameplay and hopefully this helps. Anyway, enjoy the video. So normally when dropping in, I like to stick to rocks. Rocks give quite a bit of cover, and if you're lucky, you can land on top of one. And it overall saves you in the early game, in my opinion. I've had games where I drop right in and just get annihilated, and it just destroys your reinforcements at the very beginning, and it sucks. For the stratagems, usually with automatons, I generally run the autocannon and the barrage. I think that's the barrage with the orbital rail cannon. Unfortunately for this map, we were only allowed to bring 3, so if I were to bring a 4th, I would probably bring the orbital laser. That's extremely helpful, especially when lots of dropships come in. But for this mission, I generally stick to these 3. These are my go-to for any automatons. Most of these guys were, well, actually, all these guys are above 50, including myself, so this was actually a really good group of people to join. So jumping right in, I like to look around. I noticed that I don't land near a camp, which is good. There's no automatons, so I immediately just throw down my autocannon because I want to get that as soon as possible. And since this is a light camp, I'm able to take this out relatively quickly. Boom, first camp done. Now, down there, I know that's a heavy camp just because of all the buildings and stuff, and dropships come in. I think here on the map, I'm looking at where to go next, just because two of my teammates already headed down there. So most of the time, they can take it out, but I think I was looking for where the nearest objective is, because me personally, I like to play the objective first, especially on automatons, just so we can get that over with and complete it, and then if we have time, go do the secondary stuff. Oh, it was a medium camp. So yeah, they were able to take that out relatively fast. As for me, I think I went off and did my own thing. I was going off on one of the main objectives, and I came across this secondary, which was the AA gun. Yeah, so it really helps if your stratagems are not jammed. So unfortunately, I had to take this by myself, but it was just a light camp, so it's pretty doable. Oh yeah, this is my primary gun. I guess I shouldn't say primary, just because with automatons, I run around with the autocannon as my primary, and then I think of my primary gun as my secondary. So, but it's relatively easy. This camp was not terrible, just because there weren't a lot of heavies or anything. It was a small camp, light infantry, and those AA guns don't really pay attention to you, so they're relatively simple to take down. One thing that's really important with the autocannon is you always want to make sure you have ammo. You never really want to get caught with no ammo, because then the reloading takes longer. So if you are running the autocannon, just make sure you always pay attention to your rounds, and if you're anywhere below half, just reload. It helps a lot. Yeah, so here I'm making my way to the objective, but I do have to go through a couple things. As you can see, the jammer, I have to go through that, and there's a light camp, so I could go around, but it would be tricky. And unfortunately, I don't have any stratagems because that jams everything, so I have to do this by myself. This in particular, that's a secondary. That's the communications tower antenna. So unfortunately, I can't use stratagems there. So I really just look over it and see, okay, what's there? Can I take it out? If there's no Hulk, I can generally take it out by myself pretty easy. If there was a Hulk there, that would have been a little bit more challenging. But yeah, I essentially got their attention. That was me hitting the rock. So, yeah, unfortunately I got caught, so I have to do extra reload, but this planet has craters and a lot of cover, which is really helpful, especially from those rocket devastators, because those things are nasty. So I like to use cover as much as necessary, and then just go around, flank whatever you can. It helps a lot. So this was really nice. I actually ended up meeting up with one of the other Helldivers. He stuck around and he actually helped me with this, and we ended up getting this complete, but it was super helpful to have him there. Normally this is a pain doing it by yourself.
Calling in reinforcements. Found something. Enemy elite north.
So with that, that's a Hulk. Immediately it's rail cannon. I don't want to waste ammo on that. I do not want to deal with it. I want it dead.
Tagging map northeast, 100 meters.
It's really hard to see the devastators when the smoke comes in, but overall I'm just glad I didn't get hit, not only by their rockets, but there was a meteor shower going on, so I got really lucky with dodging a lot of stuff.
I'm on it.
And actually it worked out that my Helldiver teammate was here because he's doing the objective. I'm providing cover, so he doesn't have to deal with the automatons. I'm mainly there to provide cover.
Tagging map northwest, far. Requesting orbital. Requesting air support. New mag. Going
So here I just threw a resupply, mainly because my rail cannon was really low on ammo. I could call down a rail cannon, but because I had a teammate there, I just decided to call it in case he needed ammo. So, common courtesy is to only take one, save the other three for your other squad, but because everyone was off doing their own thing, I ended up just taking two for the ammo and the stims. It is there in case anyone runs by it, which it's really nice to be running around and you need ammo and all of a sudden you just find a resupply that was dropped early on in game. Like, that's a blessing in disguise in my opinion. Now here I'm trying to get to the objective. I didn't think I could go around. I thought I was going to be out of bounds. So I decided to not go that way. For here, I saw a Hulk. Immediately didn't want to just deal with that. I like to avoid conflict as much as necessary. Especially with automatons, they just drain your reinforcements. This was the jammer camp. It was taken out earlier, so it was super helpful to just kind of clean up. So here I'm just making a run for the objective because I know green is already there, so I'm just going to provide support and check up on him. Immediately there's contact. Thank goodness the objective was already done, and I'm just acknowledging it. And yeah, it's pretty much just get in, get out, and then cover your ass. So I immediately threw an orbital or airstrike down for any stragglers and just get out of there. On to the next one. Oh yeah, always watch out for mines. It's been a problem where you'll be running, especially off a cliff, and there's a mine there and there's nothing you can do except die. So always be on the lookout for mines. With that squad, definitely didn't want to engage, especially since there's a Hulk. Again, I avoid conflict if necessary. You don't want to waste the ammo or resources, especially if a dropship comes in, so I just avoided it. Followed my teammate here. He seemed to have the right idea of just going around and playing the objective, so I followed him and just did the exact same thing.
Requesting air support.
So here I'm just kind of looking to see where our enemies. This is wide open territory, so I really don't want to get caught anywhere in open territory. So I'm constantly checking my map and looking around to make sure that there's no enemies around, and if there are, can I avoid them and stuff like that. But I got relatively lucky, didn't engage, didn't meet anything, and I ended up finding this nice little place which had a lot of ammo. My go-to is if you come across these, especially in higher difficulties, take the ammo, just immediately drop your clip and take the ammo. You never know when you're gonna need it, especially if you're going near a camp or an objective, because dropships come in. They come in.
Dropping a pin, northeast, 300 meters.
So with this, I saw the enemy. I didn't know how many there were. I could just see there was a turret and two others. I made the mistake of not finishing off the turret. I thought the one shot was automatically going to kill him. It unfortunately didn't. I got lucky and managed to clean him up. Again, I don't think this is a camp, but I thought about going through, but as soon as I saw that flare, I just immediately bugged out just because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't know what was on the other side, so since I had the option to run, I guess I shouldn't say run, I should say alternative path. So again, here there was a patrol. I saw the patrol. I decided to go around camp, save my ammo, and work my way to the objective.
Tagging map. Northeast. 200 meters.
So with constantly checking the map, I know there's two other teammates going through and wiping out the camps. So since they're wiping out the camps, I have a general idea of their direction. They're just going to wipe out the light camp and the heavy camp, or medium camp, as I make my way to the objective. And since this is on the way, I just decided to kind of help them out for when they get here and just threw in an airstrike.
Support.
Here comes the cavalry.
It didn't clear the camp, but it did get rid of a factory, maybe two, and whatever else is there. So I know they're going to take it out when they get there because I know they're heading their way. So the least I can do is start the main objective since I'm closest.
Objective critical stratagem available.
Calling down objective equipment.
Sending in an eagle.
So with the tower, my rule of thumb is if you're in this line of sight to take it, take it. Here, I had a really good shot of taking it, so I didn't want it to backfire and hit us when we go to extract, so I just took it out right then and there. Unfortunately, there were automatons that heard it, and they were close by, so I got engaged.
Calling in reinforcements.
So immediately there's a Hulk, throw down the rail cannon, take it out so I don't have to deal with it. And then one of my teammates is here, so he got up on that cliff, so it was nice that he was over there and I was over here, so we had pretty good range to fire upon and good cover. So that was my biggest mistake this game, was not hitting that. So because I think it was a rocket, guy, I went for it because I hate them. But as soon as I shot, the second guy immediately threw the flare up, and that, because I couldn't hit the target, we had to deal with dropships. So unfortunately, that one's on me. It's times like these where the orbital plasma is really helpful. So we were getting really overrun from a lot of different angles, so I fell back a little just to get some distance, especially from those rockets.
Spot outpost spotted.
Sending in an eagle.
Reinforcing.
Again, using cover to flank and take out those bigger bots. Unfortunately, there's a Hulk there. I don't think my rail cannon was cooled down, so I kind of just had to evade it until then.
Calling in reinforcements.
Generally, if we're in a firefight and somebody needs to be reinforced, I always reinforce them behind a rock. If they want to land behind the rock, they can. If not, most of the time they're going to land somewhere, wherever they want. But I generally like to throw them behind a rock just so that they have cover. That was my mistake. I didn't mean to stim myself. Anytime you can get those rocket devastators from the side or big bots from the side, it's so helpful with the autocannon because A, they're not looking at you, and B, they're not shooting at you, so it's pretty easy to take them down in three shots.
Supplies.
Reloading.
So luckily, one of our teammates was up on the ridge there, so the bots were just gathered along the ridge lines, and they were just really easy picking.
I got the terminal.
Dropship.
I think I was checking for dropship. I heard it, I just didn't know if it was dropping on top. Yeah, there it is. So normally when I'm with a squad and I have the autocannon, I make it my primary to take down the bigger bots. I know it helps the squad a lot, especially when rocket devastators and shields are around. If I can, I know if I can take those out, it helps the team a lot, and they can take out the remaining. And down there, there's 2 Hulks, so unfortunately I only had 1 rail cannon, so I just threw that in the airstrike.
Comes the cavalry. Eagle 1,
Heavy.
drawing to
North.
rearm.
Close.
And my teammate was able to take it down. Relatively simple.
Engaging terminal. Dropship.
So, me personally, I don't like the light on my primary gun. It actually bothers me. I prefer the light off. I don't know if others prefer it or not, but it's really up to you. I just prefer it off.
Last reload. I got the terminal.
So here I threw down the resupply. It just seemed like a good opportunity. Most of us were on red. I didn't know if anyone needed supplies, but it always helps to throw down a resupply, especially when you have the opportunity.
Throwing grenade.
You have been a stalwart line of freedom.
Reinforcing.
Extract when ready.
So here we completed it. we have a meteor shower. Unfortunately, my teammate got struck by it. Real unfortunate move, but I just threw him right down next to his stuff, and I think I just waited for him to get his stuff. Generally, if somebody comes down, I try to throw him as close as possible. If it's not possible, then oh well. But I know he didn't have his stuff, so I try to cover him, but unfortunately he died again. So at this point, we completed everything, primary-wise. So it's just get to the extraction. Because extracting on automatons gets really chaotic. Like, really chaotic. So green's already working his way over there. Orange lands in there. I think pink is right behind me, but overall we get there and just call it in immediately. One thing I like to do is take those bombs and put them outside the camp, especially not near the entrances. It just helps if some robot's near one and you just shoot it and it blows up. I also don't want them in the camp, because I've stood next to one where a robot shoots it and it kills me, and it sucks. But another good thing for extraction is if you have weapons, turrets, anything like that, just throw them down at the extraction, because it helps the team out. I generally throw down everything I can, and it's pretty much up for grabs. So here, I just picked a corner of the camp. I don't know where they're coming from, so I'm just kind of getting high ground so I can kind of see, and if I do see, I just mark them. But right now, it's essentially the calm before the storm. So I see bots, I see purple or pink running, so my best option is to provide cover and just unload my auto cannon.
Reloading!
Dropship!
ETA, T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds.
So here I tried throwing the airstrike. I don't know if I got it far enough, but I gave it a shot anyway, because I know they're coming from that direction. And then here, I tried to get a vantage point. Unfortunately, I couldn't, so I just ended up going around.
Requesting air support!
ETA, T-minus 1 minute.
Requesting air support!
And then from here, I just started unloading, started shooting. It helps. Helps a lot.
Orbital inbound!
Sending in an eagle!
Tried throwing the eagle. The eagle... I don't know if the eagle got there, but I almost ended up dying. Mainly because there was no cover.
ETA, T-minus 20 seconds.
So with 20 seconds left, it's important to not die. Pretty difficult again, especially since they were definitely coming in hard from that side. It's good that everyone started throwing their orbitals over there. My most important thing here was to not die, make sure that I wasn't capped on ammo, and make sure no one walks in front of me when I'm shooting that.
Watch where you're standing.
Reinforcing! Freedom never rests!
So at this point, I just kind of ran for it. Wanted to use that for cover as much as possible. And I made it. I made it onto the ship. We all made it. And yeah, that was pretty much the end of it. So, 0 death. These guys were really cool. I generally like joining random lobbies. They're pretty fun. They can be fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The game in a nutshell. So, if you like what you see, then go ahead, leave a like, and go ahead, leave some comments. I'd love to hear some feedback on loadouts, what you like to do, stuff like that. So anyway, see you in the next video.